What up? Hey, what up? What up? Hey, what up? What up? Hey, what up? What up? Hey, what up?
What up, though, Field G's? Welcome back to Luke G's Field Review. We are back at it again with our final list of draft prospects for 2019 that the Detroit Lions have met with. And we're going to get this thing started immediately with our first person up, Ferrell from out of Clemson, 6'5", 260 pounds. As you can see right here, 2018, 55 total tackles, 29 solo, 26 assists, 2 pass deflects, 11.5 sacks. I mean, that's pretty impressive. 3 forced fumbles. The previous year, he had 66 total tackles in 2017, 33 solo, 33 assists, 1 pass deflect, 9.5 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles. So in two seasons, he's already shown to have given you 21 sacks and 5 forced fumbles. And then if you add in that third year sack, that gives you a total of 27. But the bigger number for me is the tackles for loss. You would think with 27 sacks, he would have more tackles for a loss. But, you know, that's not always the case, people. In this case, the Detroit Lions actually met with Mr. Ferrell a few different times. Most notably, they brought him in as one of our 30 visits. And on top of that, they've met with him at his pro day. I got him projected as a first-round talent, so there's no surprise there. Next up, we have Winovich out of Michigan, 6'3", 255. 2018, 63 total tackles, 31 solo, 32 assists, 1 pass deflect, 5 sacks, people. 2017, 70 total tackles, 33 solo, 37 assists, 8 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. And it's something I'm going to show you because there's somebody on this list that I'm going to show in comparisons that even the numbers don't support that they should probably be taken in the top 10. But 2016, 31 total tackles, 16 solo, 15 assists, 5 sacks, 1 forced fumble. The Detroit Lions visit with him at the Michigan Pro Day and spent extensive time with him. I see him being anywhere from a late first to second round pick. Next up, we have Brian Burns from Florida State. As you can see, 6'5", 235. 2018, 53 total tackles, 31 solo, 22 assists, 3 pass deflects, 10 sacks, 3 forced fumbles. 2017, 47 total tackles, 25 solo, 22 assists, 4 pass deflects, 4.5 sacks. I mean, if you just were to go and look at the sack total within itself for the 3 seasons, you know, for the 3 seasons that he's played, you know, you're talking about, what's this, 10, 8, 12, 23 sacks and 7 forced fumbles. I mean, he has a lot of versatility. He was one of our 30 visits. He also was visited at the combine. He was also visited at his pro day. So they've had 3 meetings to date with Mr. Brian Burns. Next up, we have Kingsley Keke from Texas A&M, 6'4", 305 pounds. 2018, he had 51 total tackles, 18 solo, 33 assists. I hate to see that big difference like that, but who knows. 1 pass deflect, 7.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble. I mean, if you look at his sack totals, you're not going to get a lot going on here, but he definitely knows how to jump up and knock some passes down, as you can see here with the 7 pass deflects. Again, he's another one of those players that the Lions have met with. They have met with him in terms of one of their 30 visits, and they also met with him at his pro day. I didn't see anything in terms of them meeting with him at the combine, but again, as I always say, please do go and check the list and the information if you want to track numbers on NFL.com combine results. That way you can get the more official numbers. But a lot of these players probably were not invited to the combine, so keep that in mind. And then on top of that, you know, you know, you have to look at the scheme fit. But I got another theory about that. Now, I predict him to be anywhere between a 2nd to 4th round pick. Next up, we have Montez Sweat. I know y'all want the punch button, but I'm trying to get through it. But he's 6'6", 245. He finished the season in 2018 with 50 total tackles, 24 solo, 26 assists, 8.5 sacks, and 1 forced fumble. The year prior, in 2017, he's 48 total tackles, 21 solo, 27 assists, 10.5 sacks, and then we all know that he was once a member of the Michigan State football team and was dismissed, but that's not what we're here for. They actually brought Montez Sweat in as one of their 30 visits, and he was met at the pro day as well as at the combine. In my opinion, he could sneak into the 1st round, but I have a strange feeling that he's going to slip to the 2nd round, so I'll give him a 2nd round pick. You know, so we'll just say 1 to 2, but more likely 2. Next up, we have Juwon Young out of Marshall, 6'2", 250. He played at both Marshall and the University of Miami. He finished 2018 with 44 total tackles, 16 solo, 28 assists, 2.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble. And if you look really close, you're going to notice that the tackle numbers, you know, are really heavy in terms of the assisted part of it. But, you know, I'll give you the overall synopsis. Now, where they visit with Mr. Marshall at was they did a private workout with him. But outside of that, there's no other information. I'm going to say he's somewhere between a 3rd and 5th round pick. Next up, we have Texas Charles Omenihu. I apologize for botching your name. I apologize. I really do. But he's 6'6", 275. He finished 2018 with 45 total tackles, 32 solo people, 13 assists, 1 pass deflect, 9.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble. The previous year, he had 28 total tackles, 20 solo, 8 assists, 4 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. The year before that, 27 total tackles, 17 solo, 10 assists, 3.5 sacks. I mean, I'm starting to see an interesting pattern in terms of the players that the Lions is looking at this position for DN / hybrid outside linebacker, edge rusher type guys. But we almost at the end of the video. We got about another 5 or 6 players to talk about. I'm going to put a 3rd to 4th round grade on him. He could sneak up into the 2nd, but it just depends on, you know, how the draft play out. Now, they met with him at the combine, and, you know, outside of that, I haven't seen any more content. Next up, we have Chuck Harris out of Buffalo. 6'4", 255, hometown Detroit, Michigan. As you can see, he's a native. He finished the 2018 season with 45 total tackles, 20 solo, 25 assists, 1 pass deflect, 6.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. I mean, his numbers don't look gaudy, but he has some potential that I personally like myself, and it's a personal theory I have behind why they was even in Buffalo in the first place. And if you know what I mean, then you know where I'm going with this. Again, they met with him at his local pro day, and outside of that, they have not done anything. I'm going to give him a 3rd to 4th round pick. I think he could easily be a 5th round pick, but I feel like he'll definitely be taken by the 4th. Next up, we have Rashan Gary out of Michigan, 6'5", 283. He finished 2018 with 38 total tackles, 28 solo, 18 assists, 3.5 sacks. The year prior to that, he had 61 total tackles, 26 solo, 35 assists, 6 sacks, and 1 forced fumble. Many of you know my personal thoughts on this player. I feel like he needs a lot of work. And I certainly would not want the Lions to take him in the 1st round, but they visit with him at the local pro day. I'm going to go out on a limb and say somebody fall in love with him and make him a 1st to 2nd round pick. I can easily see him slipping into the 2nd round, but you know, if the hype is true based on how I'm seeing it, he can easily sneak into the 1st as well. Next, we have Maxx Crosby out of Eastern Michigan, 6'5", 247. He finished 2018 with 69 total tackles, 30 solo, 39 assists, 3 pass deflects, 7.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, and an interception and a touchdown. In 2017, he finished the season with 57 total tackles, 31 solo, 26 assists, 1 pass deflect, 11 sacks, and 4 forced fumbles. Now, what's funny to me is I know that there are different levels of competition in this thing, but you know, when I look up and I see that he has the same numbers as Montez Sweat and he played at Eastern Michigan, it makes me wonder some things, just hypothetically. But anyway, nonetheless, they visit with him at the local pro day. It looks like the Detroit Lions love shopping in their own backyard, similar to Michigan State. I can see him easily going anywhere between he may sneak in the 3rd, but my heart is telling me he's going to be between the 4th and 5th round pick. Next up, we have LJ Collier from out of TCU, 6'4", 276. Finished 2018 with 42 total tackles, 27 solo, 15 assists, 4 pass deflects, 6 sacks. The year before that, 18 total tackles, 8 solo, 10 assists, 4 sacks. Again, another one of those guys where you may look at the numbers. Again, please watch the film on these players, because I do think there are some intriguing names here, and I can see what they're going after. They met with him as one of their 30 visits, people. So they brought him here to Detroit to, get a private workout and meet with him and get to know him a little bit better. I can see him easily sneaking into the late 1st, but I'm going to go on a limb and say, that he's going to be a 2nd round pick. Next up, we have Nick Bosa, who is last but certainly not least, out of Ohio State, 6'4", 263. As many of you know, his season was cut short, so he only had 14 total tackles. But even in that short season, he had 4 sacks, 1 forced fumble. The year before, he had 8.5 sacks. Here's my thoughts on this guy. He's going to more than likely be a 1st round pick. I definitely have some concerns in terms of the injuries, but nonetheless, he's going to have somebody who believes that they can work with it, and that's the case. Now, here's what I noticed immediately with all of these prospects. They were completely interchangeable. They can play DN. They can just be a 2-point stand up outside linebacker rushing off the edge. They have shown somewhat abilities to kind of play in coverage, to play inside linebacker if need be in an emergency situation. And the biggest thing that I noticed was when I went through and I looked at the serious pattern that all these players had in common, they all had an extremely high number of tackles for a loss, and they all had a neck for getting after the quarterback. I hope the Detroit Lions, make sure that they nail that 1st pick. But as always, that's it for now. Until next time, people, don't be no chump. Please do your research.